Well, I want to welcome everyone to our first webinar of the new year. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone as well. I haven't seen a lot of you since we got into this new month. It is obviously a goal of our district to provide educational forums for all of our members. And we started back in the throes of this pandemic back in late 2020 with trying something different, which was these webinars. It's been very well received by so many of our members that we've actually included in the strategic plan that they will continue even beyond the pandemic as a way to get information out to our membership on a more regular and easier basis than having to drive somewhere to necessarily get it. So I thank you all for taking the time this evening. Our topic tonight is on a membership topic. It's about holding an open house. And we have with us Kathleen Bradkovich. Kathleen is the current president-elect of the Southport Oak Island Club, but also still serving as the membership chair in her final year of doing that as she assumes the reins of leadership of the club come October 1. But Kathleen's been in the club for about 6 years and served most of that time on the membership committee and has worked with a couple of different membership chairs prior to her taking the reins about 1.5 years ago. So Kathleen is joined on the call by several members of the membership committee from Southport Oak Island. And don't be surprised if she calls on them to talk a little bit about some of the slides that she's going to be sharing with you. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Kathleen, and let you run with it. Go ahead and share your screen. And if anybody has thoughts or questions, this is a great forum, an opportunity for you to be able to do that. Southport does it a little different than what you may have seen in some other open houses. And I know Kathleen will be talking about that. So take it away.
Well, thanks, Joe, very much. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And thank you for inviting me to speak to you tonight. And as Joe mentioned, we've got a number of our membership committee folks online tonight. So if I think I caught everybody. So we have John and Bev Erdelschweiger here. Daryl DeSerio is here. Helena Grace, Patty Voigt, Diana Hong, and Gary Dickerson has not attended a meeting yet, but I just recruited him last night at this event. So he is going to be part of our membership committee coming up next month. And then also on the call tonight is Jeff Mount, who did a lot of he developed our website, the external facing website. So I can ask him a couple of questions too, or you can ask him questions on our website. But thank you very much for having me here tonight. So I was asked to speak on showcasing Kiwanis to the community and what that really means. So our membership committee right now is about 12 people strong. We have been meeting continuously throughout the pandemic. We switched over to Zoom meetings and we meet every third Wednesday of every month. We've not missed a month since the pandemic hit. So we really we're looking from a membership committee standpoint about what we could do to get our message out to the community. Obviously, during COVID, we lost some members due to the COVID restrictions. All of our school programs were put on hold, so everything was pretty much shut down. But we really recognized the need to recruit some new members to successfully restart our programs and to be prepared to get back into the schools as soon as we were given the go-ahead to do that. So spring 2021, when all of us were very optimistic that we were going to be coming out of COVID and we would be done with it, we decided that that would be a great time to do an in-person open house. So June of 2021, so about 9 months ago, I guess, we had made the decision we were going to do an in-person open house. Now, I will admit that we tried an earlier Zoom sort of open house meeting, try to recruit some members. And honestly, it didn't really draw a lot of people in. The 2 people that attended that meeting, they did join Kiwanis as members, but it really wasn't the right avenue for us to really showcase our programs and our people. So we went ahead, full head of steam there to do an open house in June. And the open house really was focusing on our programs and our members with the intent to bring in new members. And, you know, as Joe likes to point out, this really was a community-based open house. So we all know that a good way of getting new members in is to take our existing members and have them invite people. But we wanted to go a little bit beyond that and really hit the community at large and just try to introduce them to what we do here in the Southport Oak Island area. So what I have for you is a couple of just lists. So you can kind of take these and go home and take a look at them. And then I'll show you some of the things that we actually did with it. But logistically, you really need to think about your logistics ahead of time. So preparation really is the key to the success of a community-based open house. And from this slide, I just want to highlight a couple of things. Publicity was key because we really wanted to get the word out to the local community. And then, as always, anytime that I ask our members to, you know, come to events like this to talk about some of their programs, it's, you know, hands down, everybody, you know, says, yep, when do you need me, I'll be there type thing. So talking to your program leads to be able to make sure they're going to be in attendance is another key aspect of this, because it's the person-to-person communication that's really getting people interested in what Kiwanis does and in getting them hooked into helping us help the children in the county. And then the other thing, just a heads up, is we ended up printing up a lot of copies of our club overview. And I've got a couple of slides to show you what each of those things look like. But we have something called a trifold that highlights all of our programs here, what we do, who we do it for. And so a takeaway is good. So if people show up at your open house, really want them to be able to take away something so that Kiwanis is kind of right there, you know, sitting on their countertop when they get home from the event. So Joe had asked me to just really review some of the communication avenues that we use. So again, it's great to have members inviting members to meetings, but this was an event that we did at 7 o'clock in the evening on a Thursday night, figuring most people were home from work or done with their golf games or whatever they were doing. And that's what we were really trying to get, is community members involved. So we looked at our newspapers and magazines locally. The Stateport Pilot is absolutely wonderful. They have a community interest section. So we ended up putting a publication, a little announcement out on that a couple of times. South Brunswick Magazine, you know, they're very community oriented also, so we can send our message out to them to have that published. Online forums are pretty important since everybody seems to be online these days. So we ended up asking our members who were part of a community to get into their online forums and do like public bulletin boards type thing about, hey, we've got this open house, come find out what we do, and then find out, you know, volunteering and helping the kids in the county. So your online community bulletin boards are really effective. Next door, I think that's pretty much Carolina wide. You know, that's another avenue. It gets out to a lot of people, and we have folks that can then post to that and say, hey, come look, check this out. And then of course, Facebook. And then going old school, hard copy flyers, they're actually pretty effective too. So some of our members ended up taking our hard copy flyers and then just really went, pounded the pavement, put signs in the local shops, the eateries, the grocery stores, your fitness centers, your community centers. So we pretty much blanketed Southport and Oak Island with our flyers in all of these local shops and things like that. So you've kind of got the new way of everybody being online, but old school also works very well too. What we also did is we sent out emails to some of the local dignitaries, your police chief, your fire chief, your mayors, your aldermen. All of this information is available online. You can just poke in your city's name and say who's running the place, And we sent out individual personalized emails to each of them to invite them to the forum, and then just, again, to remind them that Kiwanis is a really great organization in your community. So even if they don't come, you've actually put it, in their head again that, hey, Kiwanis is doing something for you, and you might want to take a look at that. We actually have the police chief that's going to be coming in and speaking at one of our meetings later on in June. So again, just trying to keep Kiwanis front and center in some of these folks' minds. The Chamber of Commerce, we're lucky enough to have a Kiwanis rep on the Chamber of Commerce. That's Bev Erdelschweigel. She's here tonight. And so she's able to, remind people in the Chamber of Commerce during those meetings, hey, Kiwanis is having an open house. If you're not doing anything, come on out, or send that message down to, the folks that you're working with. And then, of course, our Kiwanis members also. I mean, they're really a critical part of this. So we have a monthly newsletter. Information went out about the open house in the newsletter. We had member emails that went out. We have both an internal and an external facing website. As I mentioned, Jeff Mount put together our external website. So that was pretty much covered with our announcements for the June 10th open house. And then, of course, reminders at all meetings, and just really encouraging people to, hey, bring a guest, come on by. You're probably going to be working a table anyway, so bring one of your neighbors and have them take a look at what Kiwanis does. So those are some of the communication avenues that we use to get the word out. So this just shows you the flyer that we put together. So this flyer, again, was in all of the local eateries and grocery stores and things like that. It was posted on our website for weeks in advance of what we were doing. And then anybody else could take this and then just push that out. Some people, I think, stuffed mailboxes in their local neighborhoods also to say, hey, I'm a member of Kiwanis. If you're interested, come on over and take a look at what we were doing. So all of this went on last June. And then your messaging is pretty important. So we wanted to have a clear, consistent message. So anybody that was sending out a note to, say, next door or one of our local community bulletin boards, everybody had the same message. So we came up with two versions, a short version in case there was a word limit on maybe your community bulletin board and they didn't want 10 paragraphs in what Kiwanis does. So we had a short version, and then we had a little bit longer version if people had an ability to do that. But it's pretty important to make sure you've got a consistent message going out there. Once everybody shows up at the right time and people aren't confused as to where they're going to be or what they're going to hear about. So we did that. So I wanted to make sure you had an idea of what the messaging looked like. And then this is what I mentioned, our trifold. So we've had this probably for the last couple of years. We update it about once or twice a year, but it's your takeaway. So when people showed up at the open house, they left with something that was a reminder about what Kiwanis did. And during the COVID time, particularly 2020, when we weren't able to get into the schools, we really refocused some of our efforts into food insecurities in the county. So we were able to update our trifold, so we had information on that. But the trifold basically just says who we are, what we do, what we stand for, and then some of the results that we've achieved over the last couple of years or so. And then, of course, points of contact so they know who to speak to if they needed more information. So that's something that we hand out at a lot of different events. This is what we refer to as the board. So we have about 10 of these boards. And again, we're a fairly large club and we have a lot of programs. And so when we set up the open house, we set it up at the community center, St. James Community Center, which is centrally located to Southport and Oak Island. And we had 10 tables set up, and I had representatives from each of these programs that could then speak to these boards. So when you came into the community center, you basically saw 10 tables with 1 to 3 Kiwanis members at each of those tables who I'm telling you are incredibly passionate about some of these programs. Now I'm going to make Dick Hart's evening because I just so happened to select the board that's the listening post. And this is one of the programs that he had actually established in our club. So kudos to Dick. It's still, you know, alive and thriving in 2 middle schools at this point. But these boards, they're just kind of a tool, a talking aid that lets people say, what's that one about? And then you can kind of go and introduce yourselves to some of our club members who will talk to you for a really long time, as long as you like, about some of their programs. Because again, our members are really, really passionate about the programs that they work on. Let's see. So of course, we had a welcome table, registration table when folks came in. So this just gives you an idea of the type of information that we were collecting when people came into the community center. And I want to just call your attention to the last column, which says, were you referred to by a Kiwanis member, and if so, who? So this is really important because we really want to thank our Kiwanis members if they were able to bring somebody in. If it was a neighbor or a friend of theirs that they were bringing in. And we as a membership committee want to make sure we are thanking them for bringing somebody in. And also, if these folks do become members, that person who brought them in becomes their sponsor. So it's kind of, you know, 2 things that we do with that. But again, we just really want to recognize our members who are bringing some guests in. Let's see. Another checklist for you. So things to do the day of the event. Don't forget your Kiwanis, you know, banner and the American flag, because that's always important. And one of the other things that we had done for us was we have a video of our local club. So a couple of years ago, Brunswick County School System wanted to recognize how much work we do with them in the county. And they produced a video for us highlighting the programs that we have in the schools. And we were recognized as a powerful partner. So if your club has somebody that can do videos, it might be a nice opportunity when you're doing your open house. And again, you've got community members coming in who are maybe not aware of what the Kiwanis does in your area, to start them off with a video highlighting some of the programs that you do have. And then letting them kind of run amok and visit all the people standing by their boards talking about their programs. So that's kind of your checklist for the day of events. And then just to give you an idea of how we set up the room. So again, we had our welcome table when people come into the lobby, but as they came in, we had a Joe Crostic table because he's our governor and he always has a lot of things to say, and he kind of gives people an overview of what the room looks like. But each of those numbered tables had 1 or 2 programs associated with them. So whether it was Listening Post or Royal Readers, which is our first grade program here in the county in 3 elementary schools, whether it was Key Club and Builders Club, each of the things that we had going on, we had 10 or more of our programs represented, you know, that evening. And then post-event, I mean, first and foremost is thank you to everybody. So we actually got some gift cards from some of the local grocery stores so that we were able to set up a refreshment table without having to take anything out of our own funds. Of course, thanking the members for all that they have done and keeping our Kiwanis Club, you know, healthy and thriving, especially through COVID. The publicity committee, at that time, we didn't really have a standing committee. We do now, but we didn't really have a standing committee. So there was a number of different people that just kind of said, yep, I can do that for you. Yes, I can put out a message to Arbor Creek. I can put out a message to Winding River. I can go post flyers in the stores. So we really just had a lot of people that just rose to the occasion and did what needed to happen. The board of directors, obviously, because they're always in attendance at these events. The membership committee that pretty much did the bulk of pulling all of this together. And then the program leads who were talking about all of their programs and passionately encouraging folks to consider Kiwanis. And then, of course, all the guests who attended. So your follow-up's pretty critical also, because what we ended up doing is we created a master list of all of what we now call prospective members. So all of these people that attended the open house are now prospective members. And I don't know if your club is like our club, but in order to be considered a Kiwanis member, you need to attend 2 meetings. And we considered the open house one of those meetings. So what we're really trying to do is to get these prospective members to actually come to a, we host meetings every twice a month, the first and third Thursday of the month. We wanted to get them to a Kiwanis meeting. So, and once they did come to a Kiwanis meeting, provide them an application, identify a sponsor. If they weren't referred to by a Kiwanis member, then normally somebody from the membership committee would step up and become that person's sponsor. But you want to kind of keep these folks, you know, front and center on Kiwanis as much as you can. So here's some stats on how well our open house did. So at the end of our 2020 Kiwanis year, we had 82 members. And honestly, that was down from, we probably had a high at one point of just over 100. So just conservatively, we were down at least 15 members at that point. So we had 29 people attend the open house, and 9 of those 29 people became members. So we really had a 31% response rate of people saying, yes, I'd like to join Kiwanis. But the interesting thing was that even after the open house, our membership continued to grow. So we ended up getting another 9 people into our club, so that by the end of December of 2021, we were back to 96 members, which is just incredibly phenomenal. And I give so much credit to the membership committee for pulling this off and seeing this through. And here is just a slide on kind of our, you know, people coming in, people going out. And again, the membership totals were 96. So again, you're still expecting people to resign or transfer to other clubs or whatever. It's okay, you know, we're just getting new members in. So once you get these new members in, now what do you do? So we make sure that each new member has a sponsor, but they also have a mentor. So a couple of years back, probably about 4 years ago, we started a formal mentor program here in our club. So we assign a mentor, somebody that's familiar with Kiwanis, familiar with the people, familiar with the programs, to each of our new members to basically guide them through the first year. We're really hoping that these new members are going to find their niche in Kiwanis. Again, we have a lot of programs. We really are a large club, but it can get a little lost and overwhelming. So having a sponsor and a mentor, and our policy is we usually try to keep those as 2 different people, so that on day 1, a new member has at least 2 people they know, if not more. And then we're really looking to help them find their niche in our club. Which program do they really want to participate in? Which committees would they like to work on? And another important part is trying to identify leadership opportunities also in our club for these new members. So it's not, we're not saying you've got to be in our club for so many years before you take on a committee lead position. You can do that as soon as you're ready to rock and roll on that. And for example, Kim, I didn't see Kim join in tonight. She's a new member. She's leading our Royal Readers program at Virginia Williamson. Patty, who is on the link tonight, she's the editor of our monthly newsletter. She and her husband Dave came in the pandemic times. John Cardillo is now chairman of our new standing publicity committee. He just came in a couple months ago, not maybe 6 months ago. And Scott, who Daryl brought in charge of our hot dog stand at the upcoming spring festival. So again, these are just things that people are new to the club, but yet are willing to say, hey, yep, I think I can help you out on that, and I can take a leadership role on that. So whether it's just participating in our programs, participating in committee memberships, taking a leadership role, there are so many opportunities, and we just need to find a way of bringing these new members in and making sure that they're seeing all the possibilities, and then just begin finding their own niche. The other thing that we're doing, this membership committee met and said, you know, there's a lot of things to do, but it's nice sometimes to kind of step back and just have a social, like, let's just talk to each other. So, and again, hard to do during COVID sometimes. So we are planning to do a new member social. So it'll probably be for most of the people that joined during COVID and after, you know, current. And we're going to split it into 2 different groups on 2 different nights. There's a wine place down in Southport that said, sure, come on in, tell us what night you want to be here, and we'll do a little social for you. We were planning to do that in January and February. COVID's kind of gotten in the way again, so we're pushing that off to the spring. But again, just an opportunity for new members to meet each other. Again, we've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. You know, we've gone back in person. Now we're back to Zoom again. But we just need to find ways to make sure we're keeping the new members interested in what's going on in our club. So the other thing that Joe asked me to talk a little bit about is a large club versus small club. So again, Southport Oak Island is probably considered a large club, but the small clubs can do the exact same thing that we did, just do it on a smaller scale. You know, take your messaging out to the community via online bulletin boards, local publications, hard copy flyers, you know, pretty easy to do. Showcase the 1 or 2 programs that make your club special. Every club in the Carolinas is special. Every club has something that says, this is what makes us unique. You want to take that and kind of just run with it. Engage the community leaders in your area to support your club. You know, talk to the, you know, the fire chiefs or the police chiefs and, you know, your superintendents in the school system and say, hey, we're here and this is what we can do for you. You know, have a Kiwanis booth at a local fair. We've done that also, and at community events. Identify what you would like to do if you had more members. That's a great selling point to be able to get folks in that says, hey, I've got this, you know, program, I'd like to do it. I don't really have enough members to do it. But if I got, you know, 1 or 2 new people coming in, maybe I could then, you know, spread our wings and do a little bit more. Kiwanis is all about the kids. So highlight your efforts to support the children of your community in whatever way that looks like. And then I just wanted to leave you a little bit with our mentor program. And if anybody has more, wants more information on this, I'm happy to talk to them about. But this, generally speaking, is what our mentor program looks like. And, you know, it's really to help new members become familiar with our club, its members, its programs, our activities, and to help people match their interests with our volunteer opportunities. And then really asking our new members to share that information on their interests and the skills and their hobbies, and be willing to maybe suggest or create new programs that have activities, or also being able to work some of our all-hands fundraising community events, because those are great ways to find, to get introduced to some of the new Kiwanis members. So that's a little bit of a highlight on our mentoring program. And then I will open it up for questions, and my committee people are going to help me answer your questions.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Sure thing.
If anybody has a question, just unmute and fire away.
Kathleen,
Yes,
I'm Larry Roberts with Rutherford, North Carolina. Would there be a chance that we could get a copy of your slideshow sent to us?
Absolutely. I would be happy to do that.
How would we do that? Is that an email, or how does that work?
I can send an email to you with the information.
Kathleen,
Leah, can we post that?
most definitely. I'll get it from Joe, and we'll be posting it along with the recording on our website. And then once that's up, I'll let everybody know through CD News with the link.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
That was a great presentation, incidentally.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Other questions?
yes, Kathleen, this is Brian from Kiwanis Club of the Sand Hills. One question I do have is, what is your makeup for your membership committee?
Makeup for the membership committee, we
Correct.
have 12 people. I think, I don't know if you're asking, there's a mix of men and women on it. There's a mix of senior people versus new people on it.
Yeah, and I think when we typically talk about membership committees, Brian, we suggest you probably want to have at least 4 people on a membership committee. Obviously, it depends on the size of your club, but in Southport, where there's 90 plus members, we've got a little bit more than 10% of the membership on the membership committee. If you have a club of 30 and you have 4 people, again, you're going to be just a little over 10%. And I think it gets to some of what Kathleen referred to earlier in terms of, we had great success at still bringing in members after we had the open house. And that's because it's really stressing to our membership how important membership growth is and continually bringing people in. So having a larger number, or 10% or so of the club functioning on the membership committee really drives that home. That we think this is important, and having a regular monthly meeting as they do has been very successful for this club.
Kathleen, how long was your open house time frame?
It was about an hour,
Thank you.
7 to 8.
Kathleen,
Yes.
it's Philip Meyer. Question about the open house itself. You mentioned drinks and whatever. Could you be a little more specific on what you did, what you served, and what kind of drinks, alcohol or not?
No, it was
This type
just,
of thing.
it was just water and COVID-friendly snacks that were prepackaged. And I'm going to choose Helena to clarify any of that.
So there was no food.
Gotta
except-
unmute Helena.
Well, welcome everybody to this webinar. It's wonderful to see so many new faces. We had a very successful open house, thanks primarily to Kathleen and the rest of our membership committee. We had a snack table, which was water. I believe we had some soft drinks, if I'm not mistaken, some cans of soda, and we had snack bars like granola bars and some bags of chips. Everything was COVID friendly. You can't put out a bowl of chips where people can reach in, or you can't put out a tray of sandwiches, not in these times. But for that, it was wonderful. And so people felt very welcomed and cared about. And it was a wonderful event. And so many of the people who attended are now really active members of our club, which was just great. So don't be afraid to try it. It really works for membership. Thank you.
And Philip, I can tell you that in some prior open houses that this club has done before COVID, we went to Jersey Mike's. They gave us subs that they cut into, sections. So, we were able to put out food at the time, and it was given to us. We've never had alcohol at the open houses, the feeling being that, we're trying to keep it's brief. It's not, that wasn't the purpose to kind of just stand around, socialize. It was really to move about the room and talk to folks. So we used to have other food, but the COVID friendly was very important this time around, I think.
Do you think that hour was long enough, or if you did it again, would you hold it for a longer period of time?
So I'm going to ask Patty to address that one.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Kathleen. I think an hour was plenty, right? I think people came and went. as they felt they were comfortable. They were, as Kathleen pointed out, Joe kind of welcomed everyone, kind of gave them a summary of what was going on. Once the room was fairly full, that's when we really started with the president's message and the video so that we could hit most of the people. And then I think it just gives people enough time to get a sampling of what each of the programs are, to feel the enthusiasm of the program leads, and not be overwhelmed. I mean, I think people hung around afterward, just chatting. I know I remained at the welcome table and many people came by, and kind of gave a summary of how they felt about the open house, how they thought everyone was very passionate and how appreciative they were for the information that the open house provided them. And it gave them some things to think about and how they wanted to support their community service needs.
Great. Thank you.
Patty, how long was the president's message?
I want to say probably less than 5 minutes.
Helpful
And that was
hint.
controlling our president.
It was.
He does like to
helpful
speak.
hint. Write it down for him and say, here you go. Then it hits all the points you want to get for an open house.
Well, this has been so beneficial. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
So I'm also going to put Daryl on the spot in case he'd like to add anything, because he was also very instrumental in pulling this off.
Well, the one thing I might say is that I wouldn't be too concerned about food per se. We did have the subs for a while, but generally when people are coming in at 7 o'clock in the evening, they've already had their dinner. So the light snacks are a bit more effective and just something cold to drink.
As for the timing, I can say that we have in the past scheduled them for an hour and a half. And what we typically found is hardly anybody came in that last half hour. So, the hour, it gets them in the room when you want them to be there. They're there when the president's message is. If you have a video or something like that to share, it gets folks there when you want them to be there by having it confined to the hour. If you make it too long, you might get that last straggler that kind of missed the message.
I might add that you may want to have ensured that some people are there at the end of the meeting to strike down everything, put the placards away, return the room to its original condition.
This is Carol Austin with Polly's Island Kiwanis, and we're getting ready to put together a meet and greet session, a welcome session with like you did, and this has been very, very helpful for us.
Oh, great. Glad to help.
Catherine Doddridge from Sand Hills. Kathleen, this was excellent, and your team. Couple of questions I have. They're not necessarily related to the open house specifically, but kind of a follow-on to Brian, my president, asking about the membership committee was excellent. You talked about chamber and a designated representative, and we've been the member of our Chamber of Commerce for years and years and years. But I don't even think we're on their email address, so that's a problem on our part. But so you have a member that's designated representative to the chamber, and they attend all meetings, functions, et cetera.
And we have that member in attendance. So that's Beverly Erlsweiger. So she can tell you a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce down here.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question, Catherine. I think we've been a member of the chamber as well for many years, and for whatever reason, someone had not, followed through with that. And our last president of our club asked me if I would be interested in attending and being a part of the chamber. And I thought, well, that sounds really interesting. I love this little town that we've moved to, and I find out more about the town. And so it has been a lot of fun. I do not attend every meeting. In the beginning, I did, but I don't attend every meeting. I attend at least 1 or 2 a month. They have one every
Oh.
week.
Okay.
And it's been a great way to get to know and keep our name out there. They're very, very supportive of the Kiwanis Club. The Chamber of Commerce is Southport and Oak Island, and they are great cheerleaders for us. And we just recently, they have a speaker, 10-minute speaker each time. And we had our current president speak, and we showed this video that we keep referring to, which was very impactful. And and we're currently getting ready to interact with them through the person who's in charge of one of our big fundraising programs, our speaker endowment. It's an endowment program for scholarships, and it tied to it as a speaker series. And so I'm going to connect him to the head of the chamber, and he can work his stuff. So it's been helpful. It keeps your name, it keeps the name out there in front of people.
Absolutely.
And many of them have children in the schools, and they're like, oh, okay, okay, that's you.
Excellent. I have one more question. I'm so sorry. So
No, sure thing.
I was looking at your meeting schedule. Again, nothing to do with your open house, but you meet twice a month.
Our membership meetings are twice a month. Yes.
And then you have a breakfast meeting.
Those are the breakfast meetings. The twice a month are the breakfast meetings.
Okay.
The first and third Thursday. And then the membership committee, so the 12 folks we have on the membership committee, we meet one time a month via Zoom.
And then you have a social once a month?
No, we don't have.
Okay, I misread the slide. It went fast and I was really excited about it.
Sorry.
Well, there was we did start an evening meeting, which hasn't met since COVID started. But in addition to the 2 morning meetings, we would typically have an evening meeting once a month, and it was held in a wine shop downtown Southport. We got a few new members that way that didn't want to get up and go to the morning breakfast, but they would come to the evening. But we would also get a lot of our morning members, in our regular, people that go to the regular meetings would go to the evening as well, and enjoy a glass of wine with their fellow members. And then we would have a speaker at that meeting.
We also had, and again, with COVID, everything is sporadic, but we had started, since we live at the beach socials during the summertime. So instead of that, going to the wine shop, we would meet on the beach. Everyone brought their own beverage and snack if they wanted. And it was just a time to really socialize and connect. Hope to get back to that soon.
Hi, I'm Tim Holder. I'm in the Wilmington Kiwanis Club, and you may have brought this out, but I was wondering how many people did you have come to the open house? And just one comment, our membership committee is part of our strategy is don't try to hit a demographic that's younger than 10 or 20 years different than your existing membership. So 80% of our people are 70 and older. So don't try to, in the ideal world, we get 30, 40-year-olds, but the new ones we have had come in are more in the 70 and older age bracket. So yeah, so back to my question, how many people did you have come to the open house?
We had 29 people attended the open house, 29 prospective members, shall we say, 29 guests attended. We had a boatload of our Kiwanis members that were actually there. 9 of the 29 people who attended the open house became members. And our demographics are probably similar to yours, but we are actually bringing in some of the working age folks. We've got a new doctor down in Southport, and she's a general practitioner, I think is the terminology. She came in during COVID with her husband, who is a lawyer. We have a couple of other sort of mid-career people that have actually taken an interest, expressed an interest in our club that have come in also. So, so primarily it's more towards retired folks, but we really have been the last couple of years pretty successful in recruiting mid-career type people to come in also. And then we've got a small handful of like kind of the younger crowd that has come in also.
Yeah, that's good. That disproves our theory though.
Tim, what I'll add to that is that the doctor that Kathleen referred to, we had her as a guest speaker at one of our meetings during COVID, and she talked to us about what was going on with COVID. And then we invited her to participate in one of our service projects, which was reading books to kids that we were doing on video. And when we went down to record it, we asked her if she'd like to join. And she said yes. And she said, and I said, how about your husband? And she said, I'll talk to him. And they both joined.
Okay, good.
Very good. Any other questions for Kathleen or the Southport Membership Committee that's here? Very good.
Excellent presentation.
Very good.
Well, thank you, Kathleen, and thank you all for being here. It's a topic that I think we can all apply and scale to our own clubs, as Kathleen referred to. It's not having it at a regular meeting. It makes it more special, and it may be more encouraging folks to invite someone and just kind of get a feel for who the people are. And you do get the sense, the passion a little bit more than if they just come to a meeting and see the interaction that's in the meeting setting. So that particular style of open house has been quite successful now for quite a few years in Southport, and each committee seems to make it just a little bit better as we go through the process. So let me just switch gears for a minute and talk about the webinars. This of course was our first one, but we have our next one already scheduled for February the 12th. Now that's a Saturday. It's going to be at 10 in the morning. And since you all registered for this one, you're actually already registered for the one on February the 12th. And we hope that you can join us. We're going to be talking about Club Excellence Days, which is another educational program that we are bringing out, hopefully in person to the district in April. We originally planned to do it, the first one, on February 12th, but because of COVID, we had to push it back. So we're going to take that opportunity, since several of us had it saved on our calendars, to present not only what Club Excellence Days are going to include, but we're going to include the content from a couple of the sessions that will be covered. Those of you that have been around a bit have been maybe to some club coaching days. We took some of the best features of coaching days and we've put those into Club Excellence Days, and we've added a lot of other material. And I'm most excited to talk about, we have a whole track now on publicity, public relations, communications, and I think a lot of our clubs know that they could be doing a better job in this area. So we're going to bring some experts to the table here, folks that know all about photography, to talk about the pictures that we do. We've got folks that deal with public relations planning and going to be able to present what should be in a public relations plan when we actually do the Excellence Days. We're also going to talk about how to use some free tools that are out there on the web in order to get stock photography, editing photographs, branding photographs with the right Kiwanis logos, etc. So all of that's going to be part of this publicity track or PR track. So it goes along with their theme of engaging and sharing the mission, where the H in share is hype. I've kept talking about hyping our clubs, getting people to know what we do and get excited about what we do. So we've taken that theme for the year and we've having that reflected in the Club Excellence Days. At the actual, I'll call it a taste of Club Excellence Days we're going to do on the 12th. We are going to talk about public relations planning a little bit. We're going to talk about effective photography for a little bit, and then we're going to talk about one of the membership topics. So all of these will be or are more detailed in the CD news and what you can find on the website. So that's coming up. Encourage your friends to sign up for that as well. We'd love to have you. It's going to be about an hour and a half on a Saturday morning. So hopefully before the basketball games all get started, and we can all get together and talk a little bit about Kiwanis. I also want to call your attention to today's CD news, which was released, which includes information about our mid-year conference, which is going to be in Wilmington, North Carolina on March the 19th. It's a one-day event. It's a Saturday, a little different format than we've done for mid-years before, but we're putting together what's an educational program that I'm very excited about. We'll have 3 tracks running with 4 different individual, I'm sorry, I guess 4 times. We have 4 time slots in those 3 tracks. So you know, actually we have a double one, so about 10 educational sessions. We've got a service project, and one of those education sessions is going to include a film that's very moving and telling about adverse childhood experiences and what the biology of that is on kids. So we've got some great keynote speakers lined up. I encourage you to take a look at that in CD News, because early sign up goes through February the 6th. You get the early bird rate, which is $99 for the day. That does not, of course, include hotel room, because we're not hotel based. This is going to be at Cape Fear Community College. If you need a hotel room because you're coming in from farther away, we've got some suggestions linked on the CD news as to, or actually when you do the registration, as to where you can find hotel rooms if you're so interested. The ones downtown are a little bit expensive. If you're willing to come in from a little further out, you can save a little bit of money. So that information is shared as well. Another fact to know about it is, because this is an educational session, clubs can use their service funds to pay for your registrations to go to the mid-year conference. So that's something that if you weren't aware of, KI has done that for the last 2 years, or talked about that the last 2 years. We've adopted that here in the district because it's education. You can use service funds. A lot of our clubs lack in administrative funds and make it hard for them to help members actually get to these events. So just wanted to share that information with you. So Leah, what have we missed?
You've hit all the hot spots. I will say I put the link in the chat to make it very easy for you to get to our website to see all that's going on with mid-year. And we do not have registration out for Club Excellence Days yet, but that will be coming soon. And
Great.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but those days will be $30.
Club Excellence Days.
Yes.
Right. And that again is they'll be on Saturdays. The first one, again, our dates are tentative. Well, I think we've confirmed the one in Florence, right? At SIMT.
Yes. Just waiting
Right, so
from the second.
April 30th will be the first one in Florence, South Carolina. And then we're looking at a date a couple of weeks later up in the Triad area in North Carolina. I think the 14th sticks in my mind is what we're targeting. And we'll see where we go from there and see what COVID lets us do.
One other thing I'd like to point out, Joe, real quick, is if you look in your CD news at the bottom, we have what's a new thing this year called Leadership Labs, which we have once a month at noon to 1 p.m. Shout out to Brian. He's been in almost all of ours. Thank you, Brian Criswell, for coming. But I do those separately, one for club presidents and one for secretaries. And it's a time for us just to chat and get any questions you have answered. Usually they're the first to know of things coming up that haven't been published yet. So it's a great time to get anything you have on your mind about Kiwanis answered.
Thanks, Leah. Well, we had an exceptional turnout tonight. Thank you all for taking the time. Hopefully it's all been valuable and worth your time. And then we'll see you again when we meet again on the 12th of February. That would be fantastic. So have a great night, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you as soon as we can. Sign up for that mid-year. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.